is Thursday, January 26, 2012. I'm Alex Jones, and this is INFOWARS Nightly News. We are teleprompter free. We're all about actual research and producing our analysis of the news right here ourselves and not getting it handed down from the CIA or the Pentagon or some foreign group that is basically trying to lobby this country's destruction. We are truly independent. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the INFOWARS.com family. Coming up after the lengthy news segment we've got for you tonight with incredibly important information, Colin Gunn, the maker of Indoctrination, dealing with the documents and admissions that the public schools are basically brainwashing camps to turn people into biological androids. He'll be joining us in studio coming up after the first break. And we also have a report we put together today that basically stems out of a phone call I got a couple days ago and research that we did from it, connecting in with previous research that we'd done, confirming FEMA camps in the United States, but not just FEMA camps, the relocation, rendition, or kidnapping hubs at major airports and seaports around the United States. And of course, we have the reports of the Red Sox planes being used for rendition. In fact, I forgot to print those. Just later when I get to that, guys, I meant to tell you, can you have CIA aircraft that was used to ship the cocaine was for rendition, kidnapped flights, and the Red Sox plane used for kidnapped flights. There was a new article about it like a week ago. The point is I want to be able to show folks that. But the beauty of this radio/TV show that I do during the day and then the nightly news every evening is that it's about our discovery with you. It's about all of us discovering this information together. And my show is about showing you that you can see what we're seeing. You can see even more than we're seeing. This is all part of an investigation together. And there it is. They found it in just a few seconds. How U.S. firms profited from torture flights. Court documents illustrate how U.S. contracted out secret rendition transportation to a network of private companies. And it goes on to report the Red Sox plane and other jets. And they tell me they found the other article, too. Let's pull up that Reuters article. That's French news agency there. Mexico drug plane used for U.S. rendition flights report. So my point is this report coming up deals with LAX and a rendition center, not just from the source that called it on the radio, but other sources we have, confirming that they've taken an old parking lot and turned it into a rendition center for political dissidents during economic collapse and those that don't go along with tyranny. Just incredible that America has turned into this nightmare tyranny. We're going to cover Pier 57, where protesters were held at the RNC in 2004. Austin Robert Mueller in 99, the old airport built a FEMA camp for political dissidents. We're going to show you that. Sand Point, which is a FEMA center, and they admit it's FEMA running it, that was used for protesters. And then the new one, LAX. This is proving FEMA camps. This is incredible information. It ties into NDAA, all of it. It's coming up. But right now, let's get into the bulk of the other news this evening. Obama signed with little fanfare yesterday a global internet treaty worse than SOPA. We told you about this treaty a few years ago. They kept it secret, but it got leaked. Shutting down content, delisting websites, no due process for copyright, you name it. The London Guardian's reporting today that Google is already shutting down websites that the British government asked in the U.S. The British government has a delist where if something exposes corruption, they can order it taken down. It censors. They just call it delist. Well, now they're delisting here in the United States and worldwide. Incredible information on that front. The criminals that run our political system know we're waking up, and they're desperate to start shutting down the web. We've already been delisted from Google News. Not web, but news. Folks, spread the word about INFOWARS.com, PRISONPLANET.com, the audio streams, the YouTubes, everything, while we've still got it. They're shutting everybody down incrementally because we're having an effect. Please tell your email list, your Facebook, your Twitter about INFOWARS.com and about the free films that are online, the nightly news, the websites. I mean, it's so vital. That's why they're moving against us, because we're having an effect. Continuing here, Obama administration purposely misled public about Gulf oil spill estimates. We knew this at the time. But some estimates is that it's 20 times, 15 times, 10 times. No one's sure. It's just way over what they said. And they use core exit, which is hundreds of times worse than crude oil, to break up the oil and drive it to the bottom, which basically caused mass death to the food chain and the entire bottom of the ocean. This is just an unprecedented environmental disaster. And this is now coming out, being reported by members of Congress that there was a giant cover-up. The U.S. Geological Survey and others are exposing that. These are confirmed congenital liars. I mean, what do you expect from these criminals? Continuing, taxpayers still owe $132.9 billion from bailout to private offshore banks. That's just the first round of bailouts, not counting the tens of trillions that have been given to foreign banks. And then we owe interest on the money we give the foreign banks. I saw another report about how members of Congress aren't paying taxes, and a bunch of the Obama people owe all these back taxes, and Mitt Romney pays almost no taxes. And then they recycle the scam and say, well, raise taxes on rich people when they're exempt. They mean on the middle class, to basically shut down their competition. It is just unspeakable how manipulative these criminals are. In fact, here's that article out of Investors Business Daily. 36 Obama aides owe $833,000 in back taxes. And they use all this money to build drones, to hire more police, to not go after criminals, but to harass political activists here in the United States. We are paying for our own destruction, and this government is completely illegitimate. Now, in a build-up to the report we've got on FEMA camps confirmed, the actual rendition hubs confirmed, not only in L.A., but in dozens and dozens of sites all over the U.S., this program of military drills in the streets, helicopters flying over, simulated explosions that we've seen going on for decades. In the past, when you talked about this, they would say you were a kook. I mean, I could video this in Austin or San Antonio, and the news would say we're not going to cover it. And I'd have black helicopters firebombing buildings they'd covertly leased. Now when they do it, they admit, yes, the military is training to basically take on the American people, and it's a wonderful thing. So here's the article by Steve Watson. Military helicopters conduct covert exercises over U.S. bank buildings. This is all part of other drills going on to acclimate the public to being attacked by our own military that are happening here in the United States. Here it is.
LAPD and elite military units conducted extraordinary counterterrorism training in the skies above downtown LA tonight.
At one point, they made what appeared to be a drop-off at a park. Within seconds of landing, the helicopter was back in the air.
It was a strange sight in the skies over Los Angeles. Military Special Forces flying a practice mission last night, and there are more exercises scheduled for today.
And again, they have giant bases. They have military bases that have large buildings. They could do this on base. This is done to acclimate you for the end of posse comitatus, troops on the streets, and using the military against citizens. Oh, and of course, I've been talking about this for 16 years plus on air. Now it's all admitted, not just from leaked documents we got that the corporate prostitute media ignored. Now the NDAA, the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, Northcom, Brigade Homeland, it's all admitted. The military training to take over your cities, to take over Capitol buildings in states that don't go along with these criminal orders. Now, speaking of that, we have this special report put together quickly just in the last 24 hours by Rob Dew. Because when I got this phone call a few days ago by a guy that owns a limousine company in L.A., he talked about how this old parking area he would go to, had been turned into a new facility, and they put up barbed wire fences facing both ways, had gates where buses can go in. And when he mistakenly went there a few times looking for, the place to park, when he was waiting, the police basically came after him. And he had seen my other documentaries and noticed that he'd seen similar facilities around the country. So we're first going to go in this report to Pier 57 from 2004 in New York, where they put thousands of peaceful political protesters in a stockade and actually ran buses inside, making them sick and laughing at them, and had porta potties. And I'd seen this before, 5 years before, in Austin, and it's still there, but now it's at Bergstrom, not just the old airport, Robert Mueller, where they have giant hangars with bolts and chains in the floors, porta potties, cots, barbed wire, which they admit are for civil unrest periods, to bring the political dissidents, interrogate them, and then decide who gets sent out to the government aircraft for rendition that we just showed you earlier. That's a black bag over the head, and you go to a center overseas to be killed, to be tortured, whatever the case is. And remember, we've got clips of U.S. senators saying, we want Americans to be scared. Lieberman, you're an American, you say, I want a lawyer, shut up, you don't get one. This is all about the criminals that have hijacked the government, sold the derivatives, bankrupted the nation, federalized everything. This is about their takeover of society. And I cannot stress to you how hardcore this info is, just confirming that they have these hubs to then relocate people. And that's all in the Emergency Centers Establishment Act. It's in Rex 84. They admit it's the old military bases is where you'll be taken. Also, we have more prisons than any other country in the world, larger prison population. They've got old derelict prisons shut down and waiting in the Military Commissions Act, in the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp program, in all of these. And you can search engine every term I'm giving you and have government documents admitting it. When the media says, oh, we investigated camps and can't find them, that's bull. That's them putting fake garbage, we've learned, on the web that are straw men to lead you to things that aren't real. We're giving you the facts. And you've heard the NDAA saying they'll arrest you and kill you or torture you and disappear you. So stop living in denial. So we're going to first go to Pier 57, then back to 99 with Robert Mueller. 57's from 2004. Sandpoint is from 99 in Seattle. And notice it's run by FEMA. Oh, the old military base is shut down. FEMA runs it now, and they put the protesters in there. It's always FEMA. That's in the regulations as well. And then we've got LAX from January 2012. Here is this incredible report. FEMA